In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the X-Arcade 2TV-XR Pinball Haptics Kit, and will this add on to the already great X-Arcade 2TV-XR arcade controller for use with Pinball FX VR take your pinball experience to the next level, and should you consider the upgrade? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Michael B, and in today's video we're taking a look at the X-Force Haptics Kit for the X-Arcade 2TV-XR that a lot of people in this community have picked up as not just an arcade controller to go with a TV, but also using as an accessory for MetaQuest 3's Pinball FX VR. I want to say a huge thank you to X-Arcade for sending me out the Haptic Kit for the purpose of this review. So let's take a look at this add-on to the already excellent X-Arcade 2TV-XR and find out how much it improves your pinball experience with Pinball FX VR. So you guys may remember I've already covered playing Pinball FX VR on the MetaQuest 3 with the X-Arcade 2TV-XR, and I've talked about how the experience was fantastic. It really took it to the next level while you're immersed in the virtual reality environment. Having those pinball controls and something to hold on to, a base, really fools the mind into thinking you're playing real pinball. It really improves the experience. But the one thing I mentioned from that review was the only thing that was missing was the fact there was no force feedback or haptics. Well, I wasn't the only person who felt that way. That feedback did get back to X-Arcade, and they decided they were going to build an add-on X-Force Haptics Kit for the already excellent X-Arcade 2TV-XR that would be available in the near future. And many of the people in the community that have been enjoying Pinball FX VR on the device have been anxiously awaiting its release. Well, here in my office, you can see I've got a giant box from X-Arcade, and what's included is a brand new X-Arcade 2TV-XR with the Pinball Haptics Kit, or X-Force Haptics Kit, already pre-installed. Now, this is actually a demo unit that was used at Pinball Expo 2025. I want to say a huge thank you to my buddies Arcades Anonymous and of course Jay Gamer Fridge. Actually, I'm stealing this footage from him from the Pinball Expo, showing you what may have been in fact my unit in use at the Pinball Expo. This is directly what was sent to me for testing and review. So let's start with what looks different on the unit, and immediately you're going to focus on the new back panel that's included. This is black on the demo unit that they sent me from Pinball Expo, but I assure you the production models will have a white back that will fit in and look aesthetically good with your existing X-Arcade 2TV-XR. Now, of course, the first thing you're going to notice are the two big speakers that provide 25-watt sound on the device. Just above that, you're going to find a control panel that's going to allow you to control your actual haptic or force feedback settings, which we'll get into a little bit later. The other big change is this actually comes with a plunger. Now, this is one of the most divisive pieces on the device because you're actually going to have to drill a hole to install your pinball plunger to the device. I personally was a little bit nervous about this, so I was pretty happy that it was already installed for me. Now, unfortunately, the device came with a little bit of shipping damage as this piece actually cracked. This was caused by shipping damage where it was already installed. No one else will have this issue like I had with the demo unit. And it's also caused by the fact that this is actually 3D printed and not the final build that people will be getting from X-Arcade themselves when they get their production units. The other thing that's kind of interesting about this is Zen Pinball don't currently have the plunger integrated, so you can't really use this anyways right now with the demo model. So hooking up your MetaQuest, previously it was pretty easy. You just took this included dongle, stuck it into the side of the MetaQuest, hooked up your battery backup if you had an additional battery, and you were ready to go play Pinball FX VR with your X-Arcade 2TV-XR. Well, with the haptic feedback kit, there are additional steps. Of course, it needs its own power source, so you're going to get this giant brick, and you're going to have to plug it into the back unit of the console, which will power on the device and give you access to those two buttons that actually light up on the back of the device once powered up. Then, of course, you're actually going to have a hooked-in connection from your MetaQuest to the actual haptics kit. This is done with two 3.5 millimeter male-to-male jacks that are actually going to plug into the device. Then you're going to want to route that wire underneath the X-Arcade 2TV-XR so it doesn't interfere with MR settings if you want to play in MR. Then you're going to connect it directly into your MetaQuest 3 through the speaker option. So finally, unfortunately, there is a wired connection, but it will work out excellently. The first thing you're going to notice, of course, is you're going to get a loud humming coming from the speakers. You may think that there's something wrong with the device. Stay cool, because that is normal. Now, there is one last step once you get the MetaQuest connected. Once you are inside Pinball FX VR, you are going to want to adjust your audio settings. So bring up your left palm and you're going to click the settings buttons going in. You want to adjust the Pinball FX and the Master FX. Turn down the game volume a little bit to really get the best results out of your connection to Pinball FX VR and the X-Force Haptics Kit. So now that everything's set up, let's get down to gameplay and tell you why this experience with the X-Force Haptics Kit is so much better than the previous excellent experience playing Pinball FX VR with the X-Arcade 2TV-XR gamepad standard. And it's because you get the exact same excellent gameplay, but now with all the features I said were missing in the first place. First off, I want to talk about the flipper solenoids, and you know exactly what that is. If you've watched any of my previous pinball streams before, you know that when you hit that pinball button, you hear that very satisfying click. You get that feeling to it. You know, that click that P-dubs hate so much during my pinball streams. That's the feeling of the solenoid firing. It's an excellent feeling. It's a great sound and really recreates that immersion and feeling you get from playing a real pinball machine and hitting that button, watching the flipper pop, and the feeling and sensation that you get from doing so. The solenoid is an excellent addition to this machine. Now, if you're like P-dubs and you actually don't like the click-clack of the solenoids going on with the flippers, there is a button on the back where you can actually turn your solenoids off. It'll be the first green button. When it's off, there is no green light shining. Right next to that, you will find a button to turn off the accelerometer. That's right, they have added an accelerometer to this machine as well. So for those of you that want to do physical nudging while you're playing pinball, it's built in now with the X-Force Haptic Kit. The only problem is the X-Arcade 2TV-XR comes on a very stable base that's not really meant for the controller to shake. However, they have provided additional foot pedal mechanics that you can put on the bottom of your X-Arcade to make it a little bit more wobbly. Me, myself, even though I'm Mikey No Nudge and I didn't install the foot pedals, I was still able to get the machine to nudge a little bit left and right, up and down. So I did get that experience even though I didn't have it on there, although I'm sure for the people that are looking to really get the most out of this feature, you're going to want to put those leg pieces on. So if all that wasn't great enough, we're going to get to the really big component here, and that is the 25-watt stereo sound system and the force feedback that you're going to get from the machine. This is all controlled from your headset jack in your MetaQuest with that 3.5 millimeter jack connecting into the device. That's what's going to control everything. That's why it was so important earlier to control your settings and make sure that the haptic feedback settings were turned up while the music was turned a little bit down. This is going to be the main piece where now you no longer get any sound through your MetaQuest. You're getting it directly from the sound system. And let me tell you, It is so friggin' impressive. It is so loud. It is so forceful. I had so much fun playing pinball in this thing, feeling the actual machine rumble on the floor when something was happening on screen. Of course, you're not going to get the same level of detail that you'll get from like the Act Games Legends Pinball 4K surround sound feedback kit. You're not going to get specific ball rolling around the table, but they do capture all the different sound that's going on within the table. If there's something roaring in the background, you're going to feel that vibration. If one of the bumpers goes off, you're going to feel it. It's such an amazing experience, and the sound is so much better through these two speakers coming out of what appears to be the machine instead of just coming into your ears through the headset. This is really, really super impressive. Now, of course, X-Arcade did provide me with a coupon code, so use MichaelBtheGameGenie to get up to 30% off the X-Arcade 2TV-XR and, of course, the X-Force Haptics Kit, but I'm telling you, you don't need to do that. They actually have an excellent Black Friday sale on right now where you can get 30% off the X-Arcade 2TV-XR. Use code BFATV30 to get 30% off. So you can either use my discount code or you can use that one. Either way, you're a winner. And then, of course, it's 20% off site-wide. Use code BF20 Black Friday 20. Hopefully you use the Mike B code on the X-Force Haptic Kit and save a couple dollars. Overall, guys, I have to say I am very, very impressed with what X-Arcade has done here with the X-Force Haptic Kit. I was already a big fan of playing Pinball FX VR with this device, but now with the haptic feedback included, with the solenoids on the flippers, with the plunger, which unfortunately we couldn't use yet, with Pinball FX VR because it's not up and ready, this is really taking that experience to the next level. Like, I have to say, I was very hopeful for this, but it met and exceeded all my expectations. This is a necessary add-on if you are using your X-Arcade 2TV-XR to play Pinball FX VR or pinball in general. So anyways, guys, that's my look at the X-Force Haptic Kit for the X-Arcade 2TV-XR. Gotta say, like I just mentioned, very necessary upgrade to get the absolute most out of your Pinball FX VR experience. If you've already purchased an X-Arcade 2TV-XR just to play Pinball FX, you're going to want to spend the $200 extra, which is pretty reasonable in my opinion for everything you're getting here, to upgrade your unit and be able to play pinball in the most absolute best way for Pinball FX VR. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the demo haptic kit that X-Arcade sent me? Does this make you excited for your pre-order? Or if you haven't pre-ordered already, does it make you interested in pre-ordering? I can't believe it. I mean, this is a prototype. This is a prototype that went out with 3D printed parts, and it's so friggin' good. I am so impressed. I can't wait for people to get their hands on the production units and the experience they're going to have. I cannot wait. Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. I'll talk to you next time.